The afternoon sun sliced through the tall windows of Riverside Public Library, painting gold across mahogany shelves. Olivia Chen adjusted her reading glasses, her fingers gentle on the spine of a first-edition novel. 3 years she'd worked here, finding refuge in the scent of aged paper and the whisper of turning pages. She wore a simple cardigan over a floral dress. Nothing about her demanded attention. That was exactly how she wanted it. "Olivia, there's a gentleman asking for you." Mrs. Patterson's voice carried an unusual formality. Olivia looked up to see a man near the reference desk, his charcoal suit probably worth more than her monthly rent. His jaw was sharp, his posture rigid, his gray eyes scanning the library like he was calculating its value. Donovan Pierce hadn't stepped into a library in 15 years. "Are you the specialist in historical documents?" His tone was clipped, businesslike. "I handle the archives, yes." Olivia noted the coldness in his eyes. "How can I help you?" "I need access to the Riverside development plans from 1922 to 1928. I was told you have them." Olivia nodded slowly. "We do, but they're part of a protected collection. You'll need to fill out a request form and provide research credentials. The process takes about a week." His expression hardened. "A week? I need them today. This is urgent business." "I understand, but these are historical documents. We have preservation protocols." Something about his dismissive attitude ignited a spark in her chest. "Everything has a price." He reached for his wallet. "Name yours." Heat flooded Olivia's cheeks. "These documents aren't for sale, Mr. Whoever you are. They belong to the public trust. If you need them urgently, you can submit an expedited request, but you still need to follow proper procedures." For the first time in years, Donovan Pierce was genuinely surprised. People didn't say no to him. They certainly didn't speak to him with barely concealed annoyance. "Do you know who I am?" His voice dropped low. "Should I?" Olivia crossed her arms. "Look, I'm sure you're very important in whatever world you come from, but here the rules apply to everyone equally." Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement, irritation, interest. "Fine, I'll fill out your form." Over the next hour, Olivia helped him navigate the archive request process. Despite his obvious frustration, Donovan was meticulous. She noticed small things. The way he rolled his shoulders, releasing tension. The slight calluses on his fingers despite his wealth. The absence of a wedding ring. "The documents will be ready Thursday. You can access them in our private research room." "Thursday it is." Then, unexpectedly, "Thank you for your help, Miss Chen." The use of her name made the moment feel personal. Olivia watched him leave, expensive shoes clicking against marble. She told herself she'd never see him again. She was wrong. Thursday arrived with rain drumming the windows. Donovan appeared precisely at 9, looking less intimidating. His tie was loosened, his expression weary. "Your documents are in room 3. "Actually," he stopped her, "I could use someone familiar with historical architectural terminology. Would you be willing to assist? I'll pay for your time." Olivia hesitated. Something told her spending time with this man was dangerous, but curiosity won. "The library doesn't allow private consulting, but I can help during my regular duties." No payment necessary. What began as professional assistance slowly transformed. As they pored over old documents, Olivia discovered that Donovan wasn't just a ruthless businessman. He had genuine appreciation for historical architecture, sharp intelligence that matched hers. And occasionally, when he forgot to guard himself, vulnerability peeked through his armor. "You actually care about these buildings." She watched him trace an original design with his finger. "Architecture tells the story of who we were and who we hope to become." Then he seemed to catch himself. "And it's profitable to preserve history in the right markets." "You don't always have to pretend everything is about money," Olivia said softly. He looked at her sharply. "You don't know anything about me." "You're right. I don't. But I know that people who truly don't care about anything beyond profit don't spend 4 hours examining century-old drawings with that expression on their face." Their eyes met. Something electric passed between them. Donovan looked away first, gathering papers with sudden efficiency. "Thank you for your assistance, Miss Chen." Over the next 2 weeks, he returned 5 more times. Each visit, he requested Olivia's help. She began anticipating his arrival, though she'd never admit it. Their conversations expanded beyond architecture. Books, art, philosophy. "Why do you work here?" he asked one afternoon. "Because I love books. Because I believe stories have the power to change people. And because it gives me time to write my own novel." "You're a writer?" "Trying to be. It's about a woman who learns that the life she thought she wanted isn't the one she actually needs." Donovan was quiet. "That sounds naive." "Maybe," Olivia smiled. "But I'd rather be naive and hopeful than cynical and empty." The words hit harder than she intended. She saw his jaw tighten. He stood abruptly. "I need to go." But the next day, he was back. On the 7th visit, Donovan arrived just before closing. Olivia was alone in the archive room. He stood in the doorway looking uncharacteristically uncertain. "I need to talk to you about something." "Not here, would you have dinner with me?" Her heart skipped. "Is this about the research?" "No." He stepped closer. "This is about something else entirely." An hour later, Olivia sat in the most expensive restaurant she'd ever seen. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings. She felt completely out of place in her simple dress. But Donovan seemed to notice only her. "I'm going to be direct because I don't know how else to be. I need a wife." Olivia nearly choked on her water. "Excuse me?" "Not a real marriage. A business arrangement. My board of directors believes I need to project a more stable, family-oriented image to secure a crucial international deal. I need someone for 6 months, maybe a year. You would be compensated generously." "You want to pay me to pretend to be your wife?" "Yes. Before you refuse, consider what this could mean for you. Financial security, time to finish your novel without working, freedom to pursue your dreams. In exchange for lying to everyone and living a fake life with someone I barely know. We'd get to know each other. And it's not lying if both parties understand the arrangement." She shook her head in disbelief. "Why me? You could have anyone. Because you're real. You don't want anything from me. You don't care about my money or my name. And because when I'm around you, I feel something I haven't felt in a very long time." "What's that?" "Like maybe I'm not completely empty inside." The raw honesty in his voice made her breath catch. She glimpsed the lonely man beneath the cold exterior. "I need time to think. Take all the time you need. But Olivia, I should tell you something else. This started as a practical solution to a business problem. But somewhere between the first day and today, it became about more than that. I don't know what that means yet, but I needed you to know." Olivia walked home through rain-soaked streets, her mind spinning. Could she really agree to this? Could she trust this cold, complicated man with even a small piece of her heart? She thought about her tiny apartment, her mounting student loans, her manuscript that wrote itself slower every day because exhaustion dragged at her bones. She thought about her Aunt Rita, who'd sacrificed so much to raise her after her parents died, who deserved to retire comfortably instead of working 2 jobs. But more than any of that, she thought about the look in Donovan's eyes when he admitted he felt something real with her. Maybe this was the kind of second chance her novel was about. By morning, Olivia had made her decision. She called the number on his business card. "I'll do it, but I have conditions." "Name them." "This arrangement has an end date. When it's over, we walk away clean. No complications." "Agreed. And while we're doing this, you have to be honest with me. No more walls. No more pretending you don't feel anything." There was a long pause. "That's asking for more than you realize. Those are my terms." Another pause. "Okay, when can you move in?" 3 days later, Olivia stood in the lobby of Donovan's building with 2 suitcases containing everything she owned. They looked pathetically small against the marble and gold opulence. The elevator doors opened. Donovan waited, and for the first time since she'd met him, he smiled. Small, uncertain, but real. "Welcome home, Olivia Chen." He took her bags. "Let's see if you can actually teach an insensitive millionaire how to feel again." The penthouse occupied the entire top floor, a gleaming monument to wealth and isolation. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of the city, but Olivia felt like she was standing in a beautiful cage. Everything was pristine, modern, utterly devoid of warmth. Black leather furniture on white marble floors. Abstract art that probably cost more than a house hung on gray walls. No photographs. No personal touches. Nothing that suggested a human being actually lived here. "Your room is down this hallway." Donovan led her past a kitchen that looked like it had never been used. You have your own bathroom and workspace. I had my assistant set up a desk for your writing. The guest suite was larger than her entire previous apartment. The bed was enormous, dressed in silk sheets. A brand new laptop sat in its box on a leather chair beside a desk by the window. This is too much. Consider it part of the arrangement. You'll need appropriate clothing as well. I've scheduled an appointment with a personal stylist for tomorrow. Donovan, I can dress myself. He turned to face her. She saw the familiar walls going up. Not for the events we'll be attending. There are expectations in my world. Our world, you mean? For the next year, remember? Something flickered across his face. Right. Our world. That first week was an exercise in awkwardness. They circled each other like wary strangers. Donovan left before dawn, returned after dark, usually carrying takeout that he ate alone in his home office. Olivia spent her days writing, exploring the penthouse, trying not to feel like an intruder in someone else's life. On the 8th night, she decided enough was enough. She'd agreed to this arrangement, but she wouldn't be invisible. When Donovan returned at 9, he found Olivia in the kitchen, surrounded by ingredients, cooking with determined concentration. What are you doing? Making dinner. Real dinner, not whatever sad container of food you usually eat while working. I didn't ask you to cook. No, but we're supposed to be convincing people we're in a real relationship. That means actually spending time together. Sit down. Donovan hesitated, then slowly took a seat at the kitchen island. He watched as Olivia moved around the space with easy confidence, transforming his sterile kitchen into something that smelled like home, pasta with garlic and herbs. Simple. But the aroma filled the penthouse with unexpected warmth. My Aunt Rita taught me to cook. She said that sharing a meal was how you really got to know someone. Food makes people honest. Your aunt raised you. After my parents died when I was 12. Car accident. Rita was my mom's younger sister. She never married, never had kids of her own. But she took me in without hesitation. She worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. Olivia plated the food and set it in front of him. For a moment, Donovan just stared at it. What? No one's cooked for me since I was a child. The vulnerability in his voice made her chest tighten. She sat across from him. Then it's about time someone did. They ate in comfortable silence. Then Donovan spoke, his voice rough. My mother left when I was 7, just walked out one day and never came back. My father buried himself in work, built an empire to fill the void she left. He taught me that emotions were weaknesses, that caring about people meant giving them power to destroy you. That's a lonely way to live. It's a safe way to live. Safe isn't the same as happy. Donovan met her eyes. I wouldn't know the difference. Over the next few weeks, a tentative rhythm developed. Dinners became their ritual. In those evening hours, the walls between them slowly crumbled. Donovan talked about his father's impossible expectations, the pressure of inheriting a business empire at 25, the isolation that came with being surrounded by people who wanted something from you. Olivia shared her dreams of becoming a published author, her fears that she wasn't talented enough, her guilt about accepting money from Donovan when Rita had taught her to stand on her own. You're not taking advantage, Donovan said one night. This arrangement benefits us both. And Olivia, your writing is extraordinary. I read some of your manuscript. She stiffened. You went through my computer? You left it open. I was curious, he paused. You have a gift for seeing people's hidden depths, for finding beauty in brokenness. Is that what you think you are? Broken? I know I am. Olivia reached across the table, her hand covering his. Then maybe we're both here to help each other heal. His fingers curled around hers. The touch was electric, dangerous. The first public event was a charity gala. Olivia stepped out of the bedroom in a midnight blue gown the stylist had chosen. Donovan's reaction was immediate and visceral. His eyes darkened, his jaw clenched. You look stunning. I feel ridiculous. You shouldn't. You belong anywhere you choose to be, Olivia. At the gala, Donovan played his role perfectly. His hand rested on the small of her back, possessive and protective. He introduced her as his fiancée with such convincing warmth that even Olivia almost believed it. But beneath the performance, she felt the tension in his body. Saw the way he scanned every room for threats, noticed how he positioned himself between her and anyone who approached too aggressively. "Why do you do that?" she asked during a quiet moment. "Do what?" "Guard me like someone might hurt me." Donovan's expression went cold. "Because people will. In my world, kindness is seen as weakness. Goodness is something to exploit. I won't let that happen to you. I'm not as fragile as you think. I know. But you're precious, and precious things need protecting." The word hung between them. Precious. Later that night, back in the penthouse, the air felt charged. Olivia kicked off her heels, and Donovan loosened his tie. They stood in the living room, city lights glittering below. "Tonight felt real," Olivia whispered. "It did." "That scares me." Donovan stepped closer. "It terrifies me." "What are we doing, Donovan?" "I don't know, but I can't seem to stop." He reached out, his fingers brushing her cheek. She leaned into the touch, her eyes closing. The space between them shrank. Then his phone rang. Donovan stepped back abruptly, answering. His expression transformed. Cold. Hard. The walls slammed back into place. "I understand. Yes. I'll handle it." He hung up, his jaw tight. "What's wrong?" "Nothing you need to worry about." "Donovan, you promised honesty." He turned away. "Some things are better left unsaid." "That's not fair." "Life isn't fair, Olivia. The sooner you accept that, the better." His sudden cruelty stung. She watched him walk to his office and close the door. The sound of the lock clicking echoed through the penthouse. Olivia stood alone in the living room, her chest tight. She'd glimpsed something real tonight, something vulnerable and true. But now, the man who'd held her so tenderly at the gala had vanished behind his armor. She retreated to her room, but sleep wouldn't come. Around midnight, she heard Donovan's office door open. Footsteps approached her room, then stopped. She held her breath, a soft knock. "Olivia, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have shut you out." She opened the door. Donovan stood there looking wrecked. His tie was gone, his shirt unbuttoned, his eyes haunted. "The call was from my father's lawyer. There's a complication with the international deal. Someone's been feeding information to our competitors. If I can't prove I'm stable, committed, capable of maintaining a clean image, the board might vote me out. Then we make them believe it. It's not that simple. There's going to be scrutiny, invasive questions about our relationship. About you, I can handle it. Can you? Because if they dig deep enough, they'll find out this is fake. And if that happens, I don't just lose the deal. I lose everything. The company, my reputation, my father's legacy." Olivia saw the fear beneath his anger. "Then we don't let them find out." Donovan's hand cupped her face. "You shouldn't have to fight my battles." "Maybe I want to." His thumb brushed her lower lip. "Why?" "Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being just an arrangement for me too." The confession hung between them, raw and terrifying. Donovan's eyes searched hers, and she saw the moment he made his decision. He kissed her. It was desperate, consuming, a collision of need and fear, and something that felt dangerously close to real. Olivia's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, his fingers tangled in her hair. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Donovan rested his forehead against hers. "We're crossing a line we can't uncross." "I know. This could destroy us both." "I know that too." "And you still want this?" Olivia pulled him into her room, closing the door behind them. "I've never wanted anything more." Morning light spilled through the windows, painting gold across tangled sheets. Olivia woke to find Donovan already awake, watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Regrets," she whispered. "Only that I waited so long." His hand traced the curve of her shoulder. The gentleness undid her. This wasn't the cold businessman anymore. This was someone stripped bare, vulnerable, real. What happens now? Now we figure out how to make this real. If you want that... Olivia kissed him, soft and slow. "I want that." The next few weeks felt like living in a dream. Donovan became more open, more present. He worked from home more often, stealing moments with Olivia between meetings. They cooked together, argued about books, fell asleep on the couch during movies. But beneath the happiness, tension simmered. The scrutiny Donovan had warned about intensified. Reporters started digging into Olivia's background. Photographers followed them everywhere, and someone within Donovan's company was still leaking information. "I need you to meet my father," Donovan said one morning, his voice tight. Olivia looked up from her laptop. "I thought he was out of the country." "He's back, and he wants to vet you personally, before the board meeting next week." "That doesn't sound ominous at all. He's difficult, controlling. He'll try to intimidate you. Then he'll be disappointed." Donovan pulled her close. "I don't know what I did to deserve you. You opened up. You let me see the real you. What if the real me isn't good enough?" Olivia framed his face with her hands. "You're more than enough. You always have been." Malcolm Pierce was everything Olivia expected and worse. Tall, imposing, with cold blue eyes that assessed her like she was a business proposition. They met at his estate, a sprawling mansion that felt more like a mausoleum than a home. "So you're the librarian my son is playing house with?" Olivia refused to flinch. "I prefer archivist, and we're not playing." Malcolm's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Direct, I appreciate that. Tell me, Miss Chen, what do you want from my son?" "Nothing. Everyone wants something. Money? Status? Your 15 minutes of fame? I want him to be happy. That's all. Happiness is a luxury people like my son can't afford. He has responsibilities, a legacy to uphold. Distractions are dangerous. I'm not a distraction. I'm the person who sees him for who he really is, not who you've tried to mold him into." Malcolm's eyes flashed. "You think you know him after a few months? I've spent 40 years shaping that boy into someone strong enough to survive this world. You've spent 40 years teaching him that emotions are weaknesses, that caring about people is dangerous. Look where that's gotten him. He's brilliant, successful, and completely isolated. Is that really what you wanted for your son?" "I wanted him to be unbreakable. Everyone breaks eventually. The question is whether they have someone to help them heal." For a long moment, Malcolm studied her. Then he turned to Donovan, who'd been watching the exchange with clenched fists. "She's sharper than I expected." "Good. You'll need that for what's coming." "What do you mean?" Donovan's voice was tight. "The board meeting. They're not just voting on the international deal. They're voting on whether you remain CEO. There are factions that believe you've become too volatile, too distracted. If you want to keep control of this company, you need to prove you're still the man I raised." "I am that man." "Are you?" "Because the son I raised wouldn't let some girl compromise everything we've built." Olivia felt ice spread through her veins. "Is that what you think I'm doing? Compromising him?" "I think you're making him soft, sentimental, weak. I think you're terrified that he's finally becoming human." Malcolm's expression hardened. "Donovan, control your woman. She's not mine to control. And she's right. I've spent my entire life trying to live up to impossible standards, trying to be the emotionless machine you wanted. But it's killing me, Father. Can't you see that? What I see is a man who's forgotten what matters. Power, legacy, the Pierce name. What about happiness? What about love? Love is a fairy tale. And fairy tales don't build empires." The argument escalated, voices rising. Years of resentment boiling over. Olivia tried to intervene, but Donovan's father dismissed her with a wave. "You've made your choice, son. Just remember that choices have consequences." They left the estate in tense silence. Back at the penthouse, Donovan paced like a caged animal. "He's right." Olivia's stomach dropped. "About what?" "I've been distracted, compromised. I've let my feelings for you cloud my judgment." "Donovan, don't do this. The board meeting is in 3 days. If I lose that vote, I lose everything. My father's life work, thousands of employees depending on me. I can't let that happen." "So what are you saying?" He turned to face her, and the coldness in his eyes made her blood freeze. "I'm saying we need to recalibrate. Focus on the arrangement as it was meant to be, professional, transactional." "You don't mean that." "I do. What happened between us was a mistake. I got caught up in the fantasy, but reality is setting in." Each word was a knife. "You're lying. I can see it in your eyes. What you see is clarity. I have responsibilities, obligations. You were a pleasant distraction, but that's all you ever were." Tears burned Olivia's eyes. "I don't believe you. Believe what you want. But this is over. You'll continue playing your role until the board meeting, and then we're done. I'll compensate you for the full year as agreed, but I want you gone. Donovan, please. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. He walked away, leaving Olivia standing alone in the living room. She heard his office door close. Lock. She sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. How had everything unraveled so quickly? Just this morning she'd been happy, secure in what they were building together. Now she felt like she was drowning. Hours passed. Olivia sat in the dark, numb. Around midnight, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. If you want to know the truth about Donovan Pierce, meet me tomorrow. 10 a.m., Riverside Park, East Entrance. Come alone. Olivia stared at the message. Every instinct screamed danger. But another part of her, the part that felt shattered and betrayed, needed answers. She texted back. Who is this? Someone who knows what he's really capable of. Someone who can show you the man behind the mask. The next morning, Olivia left the penthouse while Donovan was locked in his office on conference calls. The park was quiet, autumn leaves crunching under her feet. A woman waited by the fountain. Mid-30s, elegant with sharp eyes and a colder smile. You must be Olivia. I'm Victoria Crane, former business partner of Donovan's. What do you want? To save you from making a terrible mistake. You think you know him? You don't. Donovan Pierce is a master manipulator. He uses people, discards them when they're no longer useful. I don't believe you. Victoria pulled out a folder, handing it to Olivia. Inside were documents, emails, financial records. 3 years ago, I was engaged to Donovan. We were building a joint venture together. I trusted him, loved him. Then he sabotaged our deal, stole my clients, and destroyed my reputation. All to secure a merger for his father. Olivia's hands shook as she flipped through the pages. The evidence was damning. Coldly calculated betrayal. He did the same thing to 2 other women before me. It's his pattern. Find someone useful. Pretend to care. Then destroy them when they've served their purpose. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know what you're dealing with. And because I'm the one leaking information to his competitors. I want him to lose everything like I did. But I'm not heartless. Get out now before he destroys you too. Victoria walked away, leaving Olivia standing there with the folder clutched in her hands. Her mind raced. Was any of it real? The vulnerability, the confessions, the nights they'd spent talking until dawn? Or had she been just another pawn in Donovan Pierce's ruthless game? She returned to the penthouse, her heart a stone in her chest. Donovan was in the living room, and when he saw her face, his expression shifted. Where were you? Olivia threw the folder at his feet. Meeting someone who opened my eyes. He picked it up, his face going pale as he recognized the documents. Olivia, let me explain. Explain what? That you're exactly who your father raised you to be? That I was just another business transaction? Another person to use and discard? That's not true, isn't it? Because everything in that folder says otherwise. You destroyed Victoria Crane. You've destroyed others. Was that your plan for me too? Use me to secure your position, then throw me away? No, God no. Yes, I did those things. Yes, I was that person. But that was before you. You changed everything. How convenient. You expect me to believe that? Donovan's jaw clenched. I expect you to trust what we've built together. How can I when I don't even know who you really are? You know me better than anyone, do I? Or did you just show me what I wanted to see? The words hung between them, jagged and raw. Donovan took a step toward her, but Olivia backed away. Don't. I can't think when you're close. Then don't think. Feel. You know this is real. I don't know anything anymore. Before Donovan could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, his expression darkening. I have to take this. Of course you do, he answered, his voice clipped. As he listened, all color drained from his face. When? Are you certain? A pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, looking at Olivia with something like devastation. What? That was the hospital. Your Aunt Rita collapsed at work. She's in critical condition. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and fear. Olivia ran, her heart hammering against her ribs, Donovan keeping pace beside her. Despite everything, despite the anger and betrayal and doubt, he'd driven her here without hesitation. Rita lay in the ICU, tubes and wires connecting her fragile body to machines that beeped steadily. She looked so small, so breakable. Heart attack, the doctor said, her voice gentle but grave. She's stable for now, but she needs surgery. Complex, expensive surgery. Without it, she has maybe 6 months. Olivia's world tilted. How much? With her lack of insurance, you're looking at around $300,000. The number crushed her. $300,000. She had nothing. Her savings were pathetic. Even the money from Donovan's arrangement wouldn't cover it. I'll handle it, Donovan said quietly. The doctor nodded and left. Olivia turned to him, tears streaming down her face. I can't let you do that. You don't have a choice. Rita raised you. She sacrificed everything for you. Let me do this. Why? So I owe you? So you can control me? His jaw tightened. Is that really what you think of me? I don't know what to think anymore. Donovan stepped closer, his voice rough with emotion. I'm doing this because I care about you. Because seeing you in pain destroys me. Because despite what that folder says, despite my past, what I feel for you is real. How can I trust that? You can't. That's the problem. Trust isn't rational. It's a leap of faith. And I'm asking you to take that leap with me. Olivia looked at Rita's unconscious form. Her aunt had taken that leap once, raising a broken, grieving 12-year-old without hesitation. Maybe some risks were worth taking. Okay, but this doesn't fix what's between us. I know. Over the next 48 hours, Olivia barely left Rita's side. Donovan arranged for the best cardiac surgeon in the country, handled all the paperwork, made everything happen with terrifying efficiency, but he kept his distance, respecting the boundaries Olivia had drawn. The night before Rita's surgery, Olivia stood by the window, watching the city lights blur through her tears. She felt Donovan's presence before she heard him. You should rest. I can't. He stood beside her, close enough that she could feel his warmth but not touching. She's strong. She'll make it through. What if she doesn't? Then you'll survive because that's what she taught you. How to be strong. How to stand when the world tries to break you. Olivia's voice cracked. I'm not strong. I'm terrified. And I hate that I need you right now. I hate that even after everything, you're the only person who makes me feel less alone. Olivia. She finally looked at him. Tell me the truth. All of it. No more walls. No more games. If you want any chance of us surviving this, I need honesty. Donovan's expression was raw. You're right about my past. Victoria wasn't lying. I was ruthless. I destroyed people who got in my way. I used relationships as leverage. I became exactly what my father wanted. A weapon. The admission hurt, but Olivia forced herself to listen. But then I met you, and you looked at me like I was worth more than my net worth. Like I had value beyond what I could provide. It terrified me because I'd spent so long believing I was nothing without the armor, without the coldness. What changed? You did. You made me want to be better, to feel again. And yes, it's terrifying. Yes, I pulled away because I was scared, because letting you in meant giving you the power to destroy me. But I'd rather risk that than go back to being empty. Olivia's chest ached. What about the board meeting? Your father's ultimatum? I've made my choice. I'm stepping down. She stared at him. What? I'm going to recommend my second-in-command for CEO. I'll retain a seat on the board, but give up operational control. I'm done sacrificing my humanity for my father's legacy. Donovan, that's your entire life. No, that was my father's life. I'm finally choosing my own. The board will never approve that. Your father will fight it. Let him. I'm tired of fighting battles I don't believe in. Olivia grabbed his arm. You can't throw away everything you've built because of me. I'm not throwing it away. I'm choosing what matters, and you matter more than any deal, any company, any legacy. I love you, Olivia. I should have said it weeks ago, but I was too much of a coward. The confession shattered something in her. You can't love me. You barely know me. I know that you see the best in people even when they don't deserve it. I know that you believe in second chances. I know that you make terrible coffee but incredible pasta. I know that when you write, you bite your lower lip in concentration. I know that you cry during animated movies. I know that you're brave and kind, and everything good that I'm not. You're more than you think you are. Then believe in me. Please, give us another chance. Before Olivia could respond, a nurse appeared. "Miss Chen, your aunt is awake and asking for you." Rita looked fragile, but alert. When she saw Olivia's tear-stained face, her expression softened. "Baby girl, don't cry. You scared me. I'm tougher than I look." Rita's gaze shifted to Donovan, who stood in the doorway. "So this is the famous fiancé. Come here, young man. Let me get a look at you." Donovan approached the bed. Rita studied him with sharp eyes. "You love my girl?" "Yes, ma'am." "Good. Because she deserves someone who'll fight for her. Someone who sees how extraordinary she is." "I do." Rita's hand found Olivia's. "Life's too short for regrets, sweetheart. I learned that the hard way. If he makes you happy, if he treats you right, don't let pride or fear get in the way. It's complicated. Love always is. But the question isn't whether it's complicated. It's whether it's worth fighting for." Rita's surgery was successful. As she recovered, Olivia spent her days at the hospital and her nights at the penthouse. The tension between her and Donovan remained, but something had shifted. They were circling toward resolution or destruction. The night before the board meeting, Donovan found Olivia on the balcony. The city sprawled below them, a million lights in the darkness. "I've been thinking about your novel," he said. "About second chances. What about it? You wrote that sometimes the life we think we want isn't the one we actually need. I spent 40 years chasing my father's approval, building an empire I didn't care about, being someone I hated. Then you crashed into my life and forced me to see that there was another path. Donovan, let me finish. Tomorrow, I'm walking into that boardroom and I'm stepping down. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, because I want a life where I can breathe, where I can feel, where I can be with the woman I love without sacrificing who I am." Olivia turned to face him fully. "What if I'm not ready? What if I still don't know if I can trust you? Then I'll wait. However long it takes. I'll prove that I'm not the man in that folder anymore. That what we have is real." She studied his face, saw the vulnerability there, the fear, the hope. "I love you too," she whispered. "I've been trying not to. Trying to protect myself, but I can't stop." Donovan pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only thing keeping him anchored. "Then let me love you. Let me show you every day that you're not making a mistake." They stood there as the city breathed around them, two broken people choosing to believe in something fragile and terrifying and real. But the next morning, everything changed. Olivia woke to find Donovan gone. A note on the kitchen counter. Her hands shook as she read it. "Olivia, I lied. Not about loving you. That's the only true thing I've ever said. But I lied about stepping down. I can't. My father called last night. The board is staging a hostile takeover. If I step down, they'll dismantle everything. Thousands of people will lose their jobs. Partnerships will collapse. My father's entire legacy will be destroyed. I have to fight, but fighting means becoming the man I was. The man you hate. The man who uses people and destroys obstacles. I have to go to war and I can't drag you into that darkness. So I'm ending this. The arrangement is over. I've transferred a year's payment to your account plus enough to cover Rita's full recovery. You're free. Please don't try to contact me. This is the only way I can protect you. I love you. That's why I'm letting you go. D." Olivia stood frozen, the note crumpling in her fist. He'd made the choice for both of them. Decided that protecting her meant pushing her away. But maybe that wasn't his decision to make. She grabbed her phone, calling his number. It went straight to voicemail. "Donovan, I know what you're trying to do. I know you think you're protecting me. But I didn't fall in love with you because you were safe. I fell in love with you because you're real, flawed, complicated, fighting your demons every day. So if you're going to war, you don't get to do it alone. We're in this together. Always." She ended the call and made a decision. She wasn't walking away. Not now. Not ever. The board meeting was in 2 hours, and Olivia Chen had a plan. The Pierce Corporation boardroom was all glass and steel, designed to intimidate. 20 board members sat around an obsidian table. Malcolm Pierce at the head, Donovan to his right. The air crackled with tension. "Gentlemen, let's begin," Malcolm said, his voice cutting. "We're here to vote on whether Donovan retains his position as CEO. Evidence has surfaced suggesting he's compromised, distracted, unfit for leadership." Donovan sat rigid, his expression carved from stone. He'd armored himself again. become the cold weapon his father had forged. But Olivia saw the cracks, the pain beneath the ice. "Before we vote," Donovan began, his voice controlled, "I want to address these concerns directly." The doors burst open. Olivia walked in, her heart hammering but her stride confident. Every head turned. Malcolm's eyes narrowed. Donovan went pale. "What are you doing here?" He breathed. "Fighting for us." She turned to the board. "My name is Olivia Chen. I'm the woman you've been using to undermine Donovan. And I have something to say." "This is a private meeting," one board member objected. "Actually, it's a witch hunt, and I'm the witch." Olivia pulled out her phone, connecting it to the boardroom's display system. "Over the past week, I did some digging. Turns out the leaked information about Donovan's instability, it came from inside this room." She pulled up emails, financial records, documents proving that 3 board members had been working with Victoria Crane to sabotage Donovan. "You weren't concerned about his leadership. You wanted him gone so you could sell the company to a competitor, a sale that would net you millions while destroying everything Malcolm Pierce built and putting thousands out of work." Chaos erupted. Accusations flew. Malcolm stood, his face thunderous. "Is this true?" The guilty board members scrambled for excuses, but the evidence was damning. Security was called. Within minutes, they were escorted out, still protesting. When the room finally quieted, Malcolm turned to Olivia. "How did you get this information?" "Victoria Crane thought I'd be easy to manipulate. She gave me her folder on Donovan, thinking I'd run. But she didn't know I spent 3 years as an archivist. I know how to research, how to find connections, how to expose lies." She looked at Donovan. "Victoria wasn't trying to warn me. She was trying to destroy us both. She's been working with your board members for months, feeding them information, building a case against you. All for revenge." Donovan stared at her. "You could have just walked away, taken the money, been free. I could have. But that's not love. Love means showing up, fighting, choosing someone even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." Malcolm cleared his throat. "It appears we owe you an apology, Donovan, and a debt of gratitude to Miss Chen." "I don't want your gratitude," Olivia said. "I want you to see your son. Really see him, not as an extension of your legacy or a tool to maintain your empire. He's a person, a brilliant, complicated, deeply good person who's been suffocating under the weight of impossible expectations. Young lady, you have no idea what it takes to build something lasting. You're right, I don't, but I know what it takes to destroy something precious. You've been doing it to your son his entire life, making him believe that success means sacrificing humanity, that strength means isolation. He's spent 40 years trying to earn love he should have had freely." Malcolm's jaw tightened. For a moment, Olivia thought he'd throw her out. Then something shifted in his expression, something that looked almost like pain. "You remind me of someone," he said quietly. "My wife, Donovan's mother. She used to challenge me the same way, refused to let me hide behind my work." "What happened to her?" "I happened to her. I was so consumed with building this empire that I forgot to build a life with her. She left because I gave her no choice. And I taught my son to make the same mistakes." Malcolm turned to Donovan. "I thought I was making you strong, but I was just making you alone." The vulnerability in his father's voice seemed to crack something in Donovan. "Dad, don't step down, but don't be me either. Find a balance. Keep the company, but keep your life too." Malcolm looked at Olivia. "Keep her. She's the best thing that's ever happened to you." The board meeting concluded with a unanimous vote to retain Donovan as CEO. As the room emptied, Malcolm paused at the door. "Thank you, Miss Chen, for saving my company, but more importantly, for saving my son." He left. Olivia and Donovan stood alone in the vast boardroom. "You shouldn't have done that," Donovan said, his voice rough. "Probably not. You could have been hurt. Those board members are dangerous." "So am I, apparently." He crossed to her, his hands framing her face. "I tried to protect you. I don't need protection. I need you. The real you, not the version you think you have to be. What if I don't know who that is yet? Then we'll figure it out together." Donovan kissed her. Slow, deep, full of promise. When they broke apart, his forehead rested against hers. "I love you. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to slip back into old patterns. I'm going to be difficult and complicated and sometimes insufferable. I know. And you still want this? Every messy, complicated, beautiful piece of it. 6 months later, Olivia stood in the same library where it all began, but everything had changed. Her novel had been published to critical acclaim. Rita was healthy, retired, living comfortably. The penthouse had been transformed with photographs, warmth, life, and Donovan Pierce, the man who'd thought he was incapable of love, had learned to feel. "Ready?" he asked, appearing beside her in a suit that still cost more than most people's rent, but with a smile that was priceless. "Are you sure about this?" Olivia gestured to the library's event room, where their friends and family were gathering for their actual wedding, not a business arrangement, not a fake relationship, real vows, real commitment. "I've never been more sure of anything." Mrs. Patterson approached, beaming. "The ceremony is ready to begin." As they walked down the makeshift aisle between bookcases, Olivia thought about second chances, about how collision could become connection, about how the most broken people could heal each other if they were brave enough to try. Donovan had changed. Not completely. He still worked too much, still struggled with vulnerability, still had days where the old coldness threatened to resurface, but he fought it. Every day he chose love over fear, and Olivia had changed too. She'd learned that strength wasn't about never needing anyone. It was about choosing someone despite the risk, about believing in possibility even when logic said otherwise. "I was lost," Donovan said during his vows, his voice carrying through the quiet library. "I'd convinced myself that being alone was the same as being strong. That feeling nothing was safer than feeling everything. Then you walked into my life and refused to accept my walls. You saw through the armor to the broken man underneath, and instead of running, you stayed. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. You taught me that love isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing a person can do." Tears streamed down Olivia's face. "I was hiding," she said, "using my quiet life as a shield against disappointment, against risk. You terrified me because you made me want more, want bigger, want deeper. You challenged every assumption I had about who I was and who I could be. We've both been broken, but maybe that's the point. Maybe broken people don't need to be fixed. Maybe they just need to find someone whose cracks align with theirs, someone who'll stand in the wreckage and say, 'Let's build something new.'" They exchanged rings, simple gold bands that caught the afternoon light filtering through the library windows. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant said. Donovan pulled Olivia into his arms, kissing her as their friends and family cheered. When they finally broke apart, he whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for being worth fighting for." They walked out of the library hand in hand, into a future neither of them had planned but both had chosen. It wouldn't be perfect. There would be hard days, old wounds that still ached, patterns that took time to break. But they had something more valuable than perfection. They had truth, courage, the willingness to be vulnerable, and love that had been tested by fire and emerged stronger. As they drove away, Olivia looked back at the library one last time. The place where a collision between two worlds had transformed into something neither expected, a second chance, a new beginning, a love story that was raw and real and beautifully imperfect. Donovan reached over, lacing his fingers through hers. "What are you thinking?" "That this is exactly the ending I would have written. The one where broken people choose each other, where love isn't about being saved, but about being seen. It's not an ending, though. It's a beginning." "You're right," Olivia smiled. "It's the best beginning I could have imagined." They drove into the city as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Two people who'd learned that sometimes the most terrifying risks led to the most extraordinary rewards. And somewhere in that library, on a shelf waiting to be discovered, sat a book by Olivia Chen about second chances, about learning that the life you think you want isn't always the one you actually need. But unlike her novel, this story wasn't fiction. It was real. It was theirs. And it was just beginning. The end.